Today I'll share my first impression and figure out how suitable this game is for those playing it for the first time. As soon as I launched Far Cry 5, I was immediately struck by the game's atmosphere. It seems simple enough. You enter an open world and everything feels familiar, but there's something special about how everything is done. The nature looks vibrant, the details are well crafted, and the world itself feels alive and dynamic. It's especially nice that you can immediately see the developers. They put a lot of effort into creating a believable atmosphere. What I really liked is how the game draws you in. Literally from the first minutes you find yourself in an event where you need to take action. All these elements come together to create a picture that makes you want to keep playing. And most importantly, even if you haven't played this series before or are picking it up for the first time, Far Cry, the first experience, definitely leaves positive emotions. So if you want to experience something new or just enjoy a well-made game, Far Cry 5 is quite suitable. I'll say right away that the controls in Far Cry 5 are quite intuitive, but there's one aspect that might be a bit confusing, especially if you don't play shooters very often. This concerns the weapons. At the beginning of the game, handling them might seem a bit unusual. For example, some types of weapons, especially those you get at the very start of the game, tend to behave differently than you might normally expect. There's an element that you need to feel to truly get used to it. It's not critical, and over time you understand how everything works, but initially there might be a bit of confusion. However, it's worth noting that this doesn't apply to all types of weapons, only those given at the very start of the game. Once you get used to it, everything becomes much more convenient, and the controls no longer pose any difficulties. Overall, the control system itself is quite simple and accessible, and after a little getting used to, everything works smoothly, allowing you to focus on the game rather than the settings. As for the tutorial in Far Cry 5, it's done at the highest level. The tutorials in the game are very clear and will help even those who are encountering the game for the first time. Everything is explained gradually and you don't have to rack your brain to understand how to handle the basic mechanics. First, you'll be shown basic actions such as movement, shooting, interacting with objects, and then more complex elements are added. All hints appear at the right moment, and you always know what to do next. This is especially important for beginners because the tutorial doesn't overwhelm you. On the contrary, it helps you confidently get into the game. Overall, understanding the mechanics of Far Cry 5 will be easy, and you won't feel lost. The storyline in this game is really good. It grabs you from the first minutes. The game immediately immerses you in the atmosphere, making you care about the events and the characters. The main storyline is interesting, and you enjoy completing the missions because each stage brings new emotions and reveals additional details. But besides the main storyline, there are also side quests. And while most of them are truly engaging and diverse, sometimes there are small errands. Tasks that are not mandatory to complete, but they are still there. For example, tasks like find 3 pipes or catch the runaway cows can feel a bit out of context. It's not exactly critical, but such moments feel slightly out of sync with the overall rhythm of the game. Nevertheless, this does not diminish the overall positive assessment. The main storyline and most of the side quests are simply excellent and keep your attention throughout the entire game. You don't feel bored, on the contrary, everything happens quite dynamically. At first, you are introduced to the main mechanics, during which interesting cutscenes are introduced that immediately immerse you in the game's atmosphere and show that the plot is not empty but serious. From the very first missions, you begin to feel a sense of freedom in your actions, and the initial combat encounters and resource searches provide a good dose of adrenaline. Before you know it, you're already involved in the events, and the cutscenes and conversations with characters add depth to the game. Far Cry 5 clearly doesn't limit itself to just basic gameplay, but offers a variety of mechanics to keep the game from becoming monotonous. Right from the start, you encounter the skill upgrade system, which adds interest. By performing various actions such as fighting, exploring, and helping local residents, you earn skill points that you can spend on improving your character. For example, you can upgrade skills that allow you to reload weapons faster or reduce fall damage. This helps create variety in the gameplay and tailor the character to your playstyle. Additionally, the game offers crafting mechanics, which further expand the possibilities. You can create ammunition, medkits, and other useful items if you have the necessary resources. This adds an extra layer of strategy to the game. You need to gather materials and allocate them wisely to avoid running out of ammunition. At a crucial moment, all of this makes the game engaging and diverse, as you constantly discover new ways to interact with the world, enhance your character, and approach battles. In Far Cry 5, there is an option to choose the difficulty level, allowing you to tailor the game to your preferences. You can choose easy, medium, or hard difficulty, and each change will affect enemy behavior. At higher difficulty levels, enemies become more aggressive and deal more damage, making survival much more challenging. That's basically the entire difference in difficulty. At a higher level, you need to be more cautious, plan your actions, and use resources more sparingly. For those seeking more thrills, playing on a high difficulty level will be much more exciting and intense, adding new challenges and making you feel every shot. Overall, the difficulty can be adjusted to suit your preference, and that's great because it makes the game accessible both to newcomers and to those who want to experience real challenges. Far Cry 5 is a great game that suits both newcomers and more experienced players. Thanks to its intuitive controls and accessible learning system, it won't be a tough challenge for you, even if you are new to the genre. The game offers an engaging storyline, interesting mechanics, and excellent graphics, making it appealing to everyone. Is it worth playing? Definitely, yes. Even if you're not a fan of the genre, Far Cry 5 can captivate and provide a lot of positive emotions. This is where our journey ends. If the video was helpful, support it with a like and a subscription.